Hello, I'm Jocelyn Tatum, and I'm going over climate change and global warming. So, how did climate change start, and why did it start? What regions are affected, and how the animals and people living there are affected? Climate change started when factories and things were being built. This puts many chemicals and a lot of heat in the air, and this changes the way ecosystems function. With climate change also comes global warming. The added heat in the air due to these factories changes temperatures worldwide. The regions most greatly affected are the rainforest, desert, and Arctic. People and animals are affected because their climate and habit changes. Therefore, they have to adapt to changes in their habitat. And so far recorded, the temperature has risen 1.62 degrees Fahrenheit around the world. Though it may not seem like much, it actually makes a huge difference. And ever since global warming, climate change, ice caps and glaciers have been melting rapidly. The temperatures have also been rising like no other, and this leaves less space for animals in the Arctic. The temperatures in the atmosphere also interfere with the water temperature, so the fish start to move north to colder waters. This is really difficult for people who live in the Arctic because they have to follow the food. Ice fishing is the main source of food, and if they keep leaving, so do the people. The ice melting really makes living circumstances detrimental for this environment. This problem is very stressful for many people and animals, so there are more than 7 organizations trying to figure out a way to help or stop global warming. Now, moving on to the desert. Deserts are usually really dried up in the case of global warming and climate change. It is starting to rain a lot in desert areas. Humidity makes air and ground in dry regions more moist. The moisture in the air forms clouds, and it causes rain in which the inhabitants of this area are not used to. The animals and plants are able to survive without a large amount of water, and more water than they can handle can actually be detrimental. They can drown. There are animals that may not be able to climb or find a safe place to hide while the water comes through, and that might cause them to drown, and therefore the species would wipe out. Now, to the rainforest. I'm sorry about the slides, they're kind of out of whack. Now, for the rainforest, temperatures are causing it to dry up. Usually, there are rivers and streams and lots of rain in the rainforest, and when they dry up, amphibians like frogs also dry up. This can also be very detrimental because a lot of people and animals in the rainforest region depend on water to live because they need it for food and they need it to stay moist. Like frogs, if they were to dry up, then that species would most likely die out without finding water. Drying up means that there's less water, and it really does rely on staying hydrated. So plants, animals, bugs, certain things that live in that ecosystem are used to a certain way of living, so there's a very low survival rate. And as you can see in the pictures, there's quite a difference because the trees are drying up, there's not as many plants, and there's no water. Now, possible resolutions. The only way I found that scientists are trying to help is to help the Arctic regions and forest regions and rescue animals by putting them in sanctuaries. They want to make the sanctuaries into a habitat similar of what they used to live in, temperature and visual-wise. And they believe that once the desert soaks up all the water, it'll go back to normal and the water will reduce heat and maybe reverse climate change and global warming, but that's only something that they can hope. Thank you for listening to my presentation.